Monsters and ninja, gangsters and the samurai sword. Real or not, Nash knew that this was the day he was going to die. You know, this is a big story, and that's not even close to all the stuff that's in this. When I wrote Super Ninja, it was partly an homage to the late Menachem Golan, who, I got to work with and was part of the American Ninja series, playing a character in number 4 called Super Ninja. And though this story has nothing to do with that, there's still some inspiration and, it's still martial arts and it's still ninja, but it also deals with AI and science fiction and, a superhero origin story and very much a urban fantasy thriller that I'm really proud of. So doing these reads is somewhat difficult for me just because I want it to be so good. I want to be able to share with you the excitement of the story. And so we're on to chapter 16 and so much more to go. It's a lot of fun, but it's hard work for me. But again, it's a fun story, and there's a lot to it. So a lot of challenges ahead, and I'll do my best to make it exciting. Chapter 16. Nash had the briefest glimpse of hell as he was shoved into the lab. His senses hovered at near superhuman levels. The crackle of fire, the groan and bending of steel under intense heat, the acrid smells of charred flesh and open bowels, the coppery taste of blood swirling in the air, and the technicolor assault of raw flesh and spilt blood, flashes of jungles and brutal tropical prisons, Viet Cong soldiers filled with hate, crowded streets filled with the sounds of Asian traffic and the smells of cooking, the people's wary but shy smiles filled with gratitude. Comrades lay on the jungle floor around him, and he was once again held his friend's shattered skull in place as he died in his arms. A menagerie of monsters, armed with a wide selection of guns and weapons, fallen samurai and what looked to be ninjas, torn apart from the devastation of modern weaponry. The floor littered in fallen bodies and dropped swords and the glitter of 1,000 spent rounds. Nash crashed to the floor. He tried to twist and roll, but was intercepted by a large boot to the side of his head. He was swarmed by 24 kicks from 12 men, and soon found his sense of touch and pain were as heightened as everything else. He not only felt the impacts and the devastation each blow brought to his body, but even the air displaced by the movement and kicks, the stirring of dust and dirt on the floor. With his hands tied behind him, he had little defense other than the turning and twisting to avoid some blows and allowing his body to bend and flow with others. He felt and heard a rib crack, and then another. The attack stopped as quickly as it started. He risked a peek through swollen eyes to see 2 monsters, twisted flesh and dripping fangs, looming above him, their fetid breath falling in hot waves that brought up further bile to his bloodied mouth, and fought not to throw up. "That's the motherfucker I was telling you about, El Hijo de Piedra that broke Manny's arm. Who the fuck is he?" No one had an answer. "Donde lo encontraste?" "In the back, squatting with the rats. He killed Ruiz, broke his neck," Garcia said. Angel shuffled in to kick him, but Nash managed to turn just enough. The boy's foot barely touched him. "Motherfucker, don't fight right," Mano cautioned. Garcia rubbed his jaw. "Yeah, some kind of Army Commando karate shit." "Oh, yeah?" Acosta's eyes flickered, and Miguel handed him the sword. Angel tossed it to his son. "Let's see what $1 million buys." Angel grinned, his eyes lighting up as the meaning became clear. He pulled the gleaming sword from the scabbard, tossed it aside, tested the weight of the blade. He swung it wildly, and Miguel jumped back as the sword cut the air inches in front of him. Nash watched the face of the demon above him melt into the punk from the beach. The fears of his insanity confirmed. He no longer had any idea what was real. Were these monsters, or men if that's what they were, even here? Was he? The crackling heat felt real. The spray of rain, the wind swirling through the ruptured ceiling. He rolled away and decided the pains in his ribs was real. If not, he was doing a hell of a good job imagining it, as thunderbolts of agony raced through his body. Gasping from the pain, Nash twisted and gathered his legs under him, fought for balance, and staggered to his feet. He heard the slash of the sword and turned just enough it cut the air harmlessly beside him. Completing the turn, he faced the boy as he swung the sword again. No horns or fangs, but the cold black eyes, set within features distorted with hate and born of fear, burned with intensity. The face of a real monster. Monsters and ninja. Gangsters and samurai swords. Real or not, Nash knew that this was the day he was going to die. A few screw-ups, but hopefully you can follow the story. I'm trying very hard not to stop and start and just to make myself continue. Part of that is the training I've given myself to be able to pull this off. You know, I have 3 novels, and I hope to do the audio on all of them. And of course, I'm writing a 4th, and there'll be sequels to this and the other 2 as well. So I've got, my work cut out for me. I enjoy this work, and it's a lot of fun. Just trying to find what your voice can do, and you can, can I go low, or can I go high, or, it's going to be, there's a lot of challenges ahead. I know I'm not the greatest at these accents, and we can throw in Japanese accents, and German accents, and Austrian accents, and Cuban accents, and there's more. So, maybe a big challenge for a first project, but what the heck, if I get through this book and you get through it with me, then we'll be on our way to a lot of great stories. So thanks for coming in, and on to chapter 17.